No such thing as a transgender child.
Fuck you.
Why don't you come and talk about it? Nah, you got nothing.
You know what? Why don't you come and talk about it? No, they didn't really want to talk because they just had a swear for you. How do you? I mean, I guess that abuse just washes off you. I guess you're numb to it now, or maybe maybe it's a good sign that someone has some passion but not some knowledge. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I always appreciate the passion, but no, I'm totally numb to all the abuse. It doesn't mean anything to me. I just use these as an opportunity to help educate others. And that one spot I was standing there on Michigan Avenue, there's a lot of tourists there. There are a lot of locals as well. But I was getting nonstop support, Ezra, which I also like to show people.
Right.
Because we've been scared into believing that we're not allowed to talk about this. But 90% of the population supports us on this. Of course, if you go to university campuses or some of these liberal areas, you're going to get a lot more abuse. But most of the people agree.
You know what? And I'm glad you said that. And obviously the negative and the hostility is more entertaining, I suppose, from a visual point of view. But it's important to know that most people, the silent majority, are on side. Here, let's play another clip. And this is a laughing transgender activist confronting you. I think this clip's a little bit longer. Let's take a look.
First of all.
Time? Wait, what do you mean? That they're like wasting their time like acting as a boy?
If you block the duration of a child's puberty, they don't get to go back to being 11 again and go through puberty. Those years are done.
Is it like, you mean the social distress of having to go through puberty at a later age?
No, I mean the physical development they miss out on, they don't get to go through that again. Once those years of puberty have passed, it's done. These boys end up with micropenises for life.
Okay.
They don't come off puberty blockers and then go through puberty at the age of 18.
I'm curious, in terms of like statistics, like how many children do you have in your mind that are transitioning in this way that is irreversible? I want to hear the numbers.
So there's a great Reuters article you can read, actually, if you want to get the exact statistics.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of kids are on cross-sex hormones, several thousand, into the tens of thousands over the years for sure.
So hormones.
Do you want me to answer your question? Cross-sex hormones.
No, I'm asking follow-up questions. I want to make sure I'm following what you're saying.
Maybe I can just finish what I'm saying first.
Okay.
Yeah. So tens of thousands on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, and thousands of minors receiving
surgeries. Is that
surgeries.
only puberty blockers for the tens of thousands, or is that HRT? I'm curious.
So it's not HRT. HRT is what a menopausal woman does. This is HRT.
Puberty. We talked about
this isn't hormone replacement. This is putting hormones in a child's body that don't belong there.
Okay, I'm curious, for puberty blockers only, because that's your argument of what's irreversible.
Yes.
What number of children are on puberty blockers?
Several thousand.
Several thousand. Okay.
It's in the tens of thousands over the years.
Okay, no. That's over the years, sure.
Yeah.
Right now, currently, you're saying.
Well, we don't have exact statistics on this. This isn't public data. But Reuters worked with Komodo Health, which is a large insurance company.
Okay.
And they looked at children who used insurance.
Okay.
And these were also children who had only had an official gender dysphoria diagnosis. So it's leaving out a lot of kids.
Sure.
But the numbers were in the tens of thousands, and for surgeries.
So that's for your definition of cross-sex hormones, though, right? I'm really curious, just for puberty blockers, right?
Yes.
Because that's what you're arguing is irreversible.
Yeah.
And you're saying several thousand?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Honestly,
go read
that's
it.
not that many.
Go read it.
That's like.
Yeah, you don't care about thousands of kids coming to irreversible harm.
I would prefer, though. I would rather like a kid potentially have like a micro penis their whole life than kill themselves. I really do.
Well, there's no evidence that's happening either. But you bought this lie. That's all you have is that kids are going to kill themselves, and it's not true.
But the statistics are there that like trans youth are.
What statistics?
Themselves. I can't name them off.
No, you can't. I can.
Come on.
I can. The only studies that have been done into this, they have never been done on children. The only real studies that have been done into suicidality have been done with the adult population. The most comprehensive study we have is out of Sweden, where no one was lost to follow-up, which is always a problem with these more minor studies.
Okay.
But it showed that 10 years after sex reassignment with the adult population.
Sex reassignment as in like a surgical intervention? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Specifically like bottom surgery, top surgery? Okay.
So this was 10 years after sex reassignment surgery. Suicides peaked and were 19.1 times higher than their peers. That's after accounting for mental health comorbidities. So equating apples to apples. If you ignore that, it's more like 40 times higher than their peers.
But,
so it did nothing to reduce suicidality. Denmark just came out with another study about 2 months ago, also showing this. All the evidence we have shows that suicides go up, not down, if you transition children. So your argument is just totally useless because there's no evidence for it. But it's always used, every single conversation.
Well, you know what I like about that, Chris, is I think you actually were educating her. I think she was putting up a brave front and she was pushing back, but I think she was actually listening to you. And I don't think she had considered the things you had said before. And I don't think she understood the effect of puberty blockers and other horrific things. I think that although that certainly felt adversarial, and you could see she was recording it on her phone as well, so she would listen to it later or maybe post it herself, you were firm. And you didn't let her get away with things, and you insisted on being able to finish. But I wouldn't say you were rude. You were firm, and it was obviously interesting enough to her that she stayed engaged. And we didn't play the whole clip there, obviously. I think that you told her things she had never heard before. You put ideas to her and facts to her she had never seen before. And I'm not saying you changed her mind, but I think for the first time ever, she heard a dissonant message as opposed to just the regime narrative. I would call what we just saw there a success.
Yeah, so she actually started that interaction. I had my phone on a tripod filming, and she came up to play Disney music into my phone so that I wouldn't be able to play back the recording. She said I would get a DMCA takedown, a copyright notice. So this is what these activists are trying to do to stop people from showing their footage. They play a Disney song. But I talked to her for more than 30 minutes. So
by the way,
sure,
I don't think that's what happens. I think that just demonetizes your video, but it shows they're trying to cancel you. But sorry, I interrupted you. So you talked to her for half an hour, you say?
Yeah, more than half an hour. She had all the same talking points, but at least she stayed and she listened.
Half an hour? That's like
for someone with...
Go ahead.
Yeah, for someone with that mindset, it's impossible in that moment for them to admit anything.
Right.
But you can see some of this nervous laughter.
Yeah.
So I know she goes home and she starts thinking about some of these things more.
And she'll be Googling them and she'll be trying to refute what you said. No, if you spend half an hour with her, I mean, first of all, I salute you for your patience and your stamina. But second of all, that is more rebuttals that you have given to her than she will get anywhere else cumulatively in her entire life.
Yeah, and the added bonus to this is that I put these video clips up on Twitter, and they've been seen millions of times. So this is helping to educate people how to talk about this. I actually met a woman when I was in Milwaukee last week. She came to a talk I was giving, and I talked to her late last year. She'd watched one of my videos from the University of Pennsylvania, where a gay black man who had been giving me a very hard time, I challenged him to come and have a conversation with me, and to his credit, he did for 80 minutes. And I put this whole conversation up on Twitter. This woman's daughter had been identifying as a boy. She told me that she used a lot of the talking points from that video at the University of Pennsylvania to talk with her own daughter. And the good news is her daughter isn't identifying as a boy anymore. She's doing way better. So these videos I know always have, added benefits that I'll never hear about usually down the road. But it's a good combination, the street stuff combined with the internet.